What is up, folks? We are back. This is week 4. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That is indeed correct.
I don't know if either of you have been watching last week or the week before or the week before that, but we've had stupid title on this for the whole time. It just said, weekly hangout with Evan and Nate. And if you were watching last week, we finally decided on a name, and so that's what all the videos have been renamed to. Kind of weird glare. But still, yeah, we're the tangential tech shock. So
I think that's a pretty sweet name, honestly.
and it's pretty fitting because we don't always stay
on
right
topic.
on the topics. But you know what? That keeps it exciting. So
That's us, you know.
that's how it's got to be, and that's what we do. So our first order of business, it's inevitable. We have to talk about it, even though I'm not a huge fan. Is the Amazon Fire Phone.
Got announced today, I believe.
Today
This
or
morning,
yesterday,
as a matter.
something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be
Point
honest. Go for it. Just say your yours. Your opinion
Well, I was
first.
just going to say the point is that it's an Amazon phone, and it's the feeling that you, as a consumer or anyone, probably had about the Amazon Kindle Fire tablet compared to an iPad is the same way you'll think about the Fire phone to an iPhone. It's the same.
Pretty much, yeah. My thought on it is basically about the same thing I said last week about Amazon Music Prime. Amazon, if you're listening to me, which you're not, go back to being Amazon. Quit trying to get into devices and stuff like that, because the Kindle's cool, but then you start moving into all this other crap, and then it's just like, why? Seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's a 3D phone. Big effing deal.
It's got the 3D, and the one thing that I'll admit is cool is the Firefly feature that it'll just like kind of creepy if you ask me. It'll scan your surroundings and say, oh, that's this book, and then in a money grab sort of way, it'll take you to a page where you can buy it, or It
Right.
doesn't make any sense because you already have it physically.
Hey, you own it already, so why would you want another copy of it except for to make Jeff Bezos some money?
Exactly. So I'm not sure how the Firefly feature is supposed to play out. Maybe I haven't looked into it enough. I don't know. But it's got a dedicated button for that. I think a 13 megapixel camera. The stock handset comes with 32 gigs of memory. But other than that, there's not a whole lot hardware-wise that sets it apart, and it's honestly kind of ugly.
It is, yeah. The first picture I saw of it, it actually ended up looking. The first picture I saw looked like it was a Nokia Lumia 900 or something like that. But then I realized, oh right, it's just in an ugly case. No big deal. Here's the thing. I see this phone as being something that's really popular with affluent 40 or 50-year-olds that don't know technology all that well. And they're going to think, oh, this phone is just so wonderful because it's got an Amazon name behind it. And then they're going to pass it off along their friends. And then eventually it'll get to my mother, and then my mother will be like, I can't work this damn phone. It's like, neither can I, because I don't know how to work it.
Exactly, and I think you're right about that. And you know what? It may seem to us anyway that may seem stupid that they're going for that, but at the same time, it makes them money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, somebody paid $200 for that thing at an AT&T store, and it's like it makes sense what you're saying because it's going to have the Mayday feature. I think I'm pretty sure it is. Like they have on the new Kindles.
Yep.
Which you just call it, get customer support from that lady that probably looks nothing like anyone that works for Amazon customer support. No.
Nope.
Yeah. So I think you might be right. They might be shooting for the crotchety. No offense if there's any crotchety people watching this podcast. But honestly, that might be the audience they're shooting for. Why do you have that?
It's something I brought in from my car and I wanted to use it as a prop.
Oh my god, that was perfect. I could not have been timed better. Well, I'm done dogging on Amazon. I'm sorry. They're probably gonna, I don't know, sue me or something. I don't know.
Hey Jeff, dude, seriously, if you're listening, don't sue us. It's just an opinion.
It's just an opinion, and that's what we're here for. We're not here to be shills. We're not your shills. So, in the less dazzling news, it came out the other day that nobody uses this anymore, but the old Nokia OS Symbian, which was Nokia's basically version of Android.
Which, for those of you who can't remember, the last phone that came out from Nokia that had Symbian on it was the 808 PureView, which was the
41 megapixel.
Yeah, gigantic friggin' 41 megapixel camera that predated the Lumia 1020.
It was a really narrow and long screen. It was pretty much a camera with a phone dialer. I mean,
it was, yeah.
So yeah, that was about 3 years ago. I want to say 3 or 4, but that was huge. But that had Symbian on it, and apparently back around that time, or maybe even earlier, someone came to Nokia and said, "Look, we found this security flaw that allows us to sign our own Symbian application." So basically, in the way that an iPhone developer has to send their apps to Apple for approval, they can basically approve their own apps and then use them like malware and put them on people's devices and do basically whatever they want.
Whatever they wanted, yeah.
So that whether that be spy on you, get personal information, anything like that. But so basically they extorted and used that information as ransom for Nokia, and it seems like from what we know that Nokia bit and paid the people.
It sounds that way, but I'm not entirely sure why, other than the fact that simply to protect the users that they already had. Which I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I used a Symbian phone.
I can't remember the last time I saw one, and that's a long shot. I think I saw a PureView once. Used it in I think I don't even know where I used it. Maybe like a Best Buy Mobile. I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me. They didn't sell a whole lot of them.
No.
Here's the basically, if you're still using a Symbian phone, which I'm sorry if you are, basically you should be very, very happy that Nokia basically shelled out a buttload of money to keep your ass safe.
And
now get with the program and buy something modern.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for saving my breath, because I was about to have to say that to the American.
Buy a Windows phone already. Buy an Android. Buy an iDevice. I don't care. Just get with the program already, because nobody is using Symbian anymore.
Exactly.
No one.
Get something that has support. That's all there is to it.
Don't let anybody talk you into a BlackBerry. Bad idea.
No, that's dying, and
in a big way.
If we keep doing this show for however long, we'll be talking about BlackBerry the same way we're talking about Symbian right now. So
yes. Well, actually, can you remember WebOS?
Oh my God, yes.
That's that one that Palm was developing before HP bought him.
And have you seen the mock-ups of the stuff that never got released?
Yes, I did. God. They were looking sick.
I hate HP for killing that.
Oh, dude, straight, yeah. I'll be honest with you, I'm still pissed at Cisco Systems for killing the flip cam.
Did that die? I didn't.
Oh, it's dead, man. They killed it in a big way.
Okay. I those were everywhere for a while, but
they were.
They were everywhere.
Well, basically what happened was Flip got bought by Cisco, and then 2 years down the road, after working on prototype after prototype after prototype. As a matter of fact, I believe the last one they were working on would have been a 3D device. They basically, Cisco's just kind of like, you know what? This was a bad idea. But instead of rather selling the company and letting the Flip name go on, we're just going to kill it. Have fun.
Might as well.
Bastards.
Now, if you were watching this last week, you saw me kind of stomp on Harrison Ford's self-esteem. Is that fair?
I think that's pretty fair, yeah.
Now, I realize that this is advertised as a technology show, but, Star Wars is Star Wars, and pretty much people who like technology tend to like Star Wars. They're
pretty much.
I mean, yeah. So,
not to mention, this is the Tangential talk show. Exactly. If you came here expecting us to stay on topic, you fail at life.
Now, in all fairness, this was a topic to begin with. So we're technically not on a tangent yet, but we'll get there, I'm sure. Basically, I feel like a terrible person because last week I made fun of him for giving himself a bum ankle with what people said was the door of the Millennium Falcon. Probably exaggeration, but turns out they came out yesterday or the day before that said he actually broke his leg, just leg. And I don't know what part of his leg, fibula, femur,
It just
anything.
says part of his leg.
It's his leg, and now I feel bad because that's a legitimate injury compared to this, a rolled ankle or something or whatever we thought he had.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly, Harrison. I am sorry about that.
Oh,
now,
hell.
they also, we've been talking about, what were we talking about? Reading Rainbow is coming back, I should say.
Magic School Bus is coming back.
Magic School Bus. And now, to round out the Triple Crown, Bill Nye is taking steps to come back.
Which I'm not entirely sure is necessarily a bad idea. Because
it's not a bad idea.
It's not, because I remember watching his show thousands of times growing up, and I'm sure you do as well, at least reruns, you know. Yeah. And I learned quite a bit from his show.
I did too. My only thing is, Magic School Bus can make new stuff, and they can fly their bus into someone's spleen instead of their lungs. They can always make up new stuff for that.
And find a way to mop lactic acid off somebody's muscles.
Exactly. So, that I can see where that can be rehashed. And Reading Rainbow, there's books everywhere. That's different. But Bill Nye is actually not to discredit the others, but is specifically academic.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So every episode, as you remember, had this is the law of gravity, blah 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 blah, had specific themes. So I'm confused as to what he's going to do without just going back to the beginning of the science book and going through scientific principle after scientific principle, because he can't. I mean, he could if he wanted to, but there's a limit to what he can talk about. He can't talk about the third law of thermodynamics on a show for children. I mean,
at the same time, though, maybe he's not going for children. Maybe
it could be completely a vulgar show. It could be like.
Oh, absolutely! I'd laugh my ass off
if
Bill Nye the Science Guy came back as an uncensored version.
It'd be like a hybrid of a Bob Saget stand-up show with the original Bill Nye the Science Guy. It would be hilarious.
That would be, yeah. Speaking of Bill Nye and explicit and all that good stuff, it wasn't exactly explicit, but did you see the new Epic Rap Battles of History?
I did not. The most recent one, no.
Oh, dude, so good. Sir Isaac Newton versus Bill Nye.
Oh my gosh, that's gotta be good. I'll have to watch that after the show.
Yeah, you're going to have to, because it's 2 minutes, 47 seconds of just, it's so good. It's one of the best they've had in a long time. And if anyone watching hasn't seen it yet, do so after the show's over. I was going to say do so immediately, but then we'd lose our one viewer. So
we have two. I see two.
Two! Hello, second viewer. How are you?
And it keeps bopping up to 3 and back, so... I think our social media pushes are working. So, hello.
Woo! Go social media.
Social media is the bomb. And I don't know how radio shows a long time ago made it.
I have no idea, other than the fact that just plain old word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Hey, have you heard about Billy Bob's new talk show?
Exactly.
This is what we're talking about, folks. This is you see, we're on the end of a tangent. we're going to drive back down it now.
You're listening to the Tangential Talk Show on 89.9. College radio's best. What?
That sounds familiar.
I wonder why.
That sounds like one of your real jobs.
It is, yes. Only without the cheesiness. Okay, so moving on. I like this next topic because this is going to be a lot of fun.
This is, and I'm going to ask you what you think about this, but today, I believe it was today, Harley Davidson came out and demoed or showed a video of, I don't know if they actually physically showed it to people, but their first electric motorcycle. And
the bike actually does exist.
It does exist, and from what I read, it's a prototype, not for sale. Is that correct?
They've got 3 prototypes right now, and they're going to be taking it around the country, around the United States first, and then they're going to be taking it to Europe first. And they're not going to actually announce anything until next year when they get all the feedback back. But what we're talking about
R&D, right?
Is purely for R&D, yes. Although I will say that the prototype looks absolutely ready to go. The problem that I saw with it is was on the spec sheet. The fact that it'll only do 50 miles on a charge at current state. Obviously, that'll change. 50 miles.
Wow.
And it's got maybe, I think there was something like 35 more foot-pounds of torque than a standard Harley Sportster 883, which is the smallest. It used to be the smallest bike they make. Not anymore. They've got the Street 500 and the Street 750 now. And it's also only got a top speed of like 93 miles an hour, which when you really think about it is kind of stupid.
It's close to a motor scooter, and I did see something about 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds, which is kind of cool. But then you get to the end of that mile, and you're like, oh, I need to charge.
The power band on it is really limited because you go from 0 to 93 miles an hour in probably 15 seconds, which for most people, that just drive cars, 0 to 93 in 15 seconds might be a light, just might be like that to them. Right, but in bike terms, that's a week and a half. Mm-hmm. So, there's that.
Especially on a Harley.
Dude, hell no. On a Harley, no. Harleys are slow, noisy, oil-leaking tanks.
Are they?
Yeah, absolutely.
How much I know.
They look cool.
Expert in this duo.
They look cool, and they sound amazing, and I love to ride them. But far as speed goes, yeah, that's funny. They'll get you to the top end of the spectrum for sure. I mean, they'll get you around 110, 115 miles an hour, even on one of their biggest bikes. Especially with like a 120 cubic inch motor. It's one of those things, But yeah, it's the bike itself. Back to the electric bike. Looks really cool, and it looks ready to go. Everything, like the brakes and the lights and everything, they're all stuff they've got on the shelf already. Well, so basically all they have to do is they would have to pull this piece here and then put this piece in, and then, hey, there you go, full light.
Strap a battery on it.
Right. What I can't get over, though, is the way it looks and the way it sounds. There's a couple of videos of like the preview from today's announcement, and then there's actually like the announcement itself, and the sound clips of what this thing sounds like. It sounds like the future.
Does it
sounds like a jet,
like from Tron or what?
Well, actually, I'll pull it up for you real quick because it sounds sick.
Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to see the video, but I did see what I did see of the physical body. I don't know how I feel about it. It's all blacked out, and I usually like vehicles that are blacked out, but it kind of looked, it almost looked homemade to me. I don't know. It almost looked like a garage project.
Right.
Which is what it is. I mean, it's in the research stages, but I don't know. I think it's a cool idea, and I think that moving forward, all the electric cars are coming out. Electric motorcycles have to happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think
okay. I changed my mind.
All right, I'm going to do a screen share real quick.
Yeah, this looks legit. I changed my mind. I take it back.
It looks really good, doesn't it?
It does. I don't know what I must have been looking at earlier.
It's certainly a lot sexier than most of the stuff in Harley's lineup.
Oh yeah, all the classic looking I don't like. But no, this blacked out rims and stuff I do like. If you have a screenshot there.
I'm working on it.
Gotcha.
Oh, quit being a tool. Okay, there's you. You see it yet?
I see the YouTube page, yep.
Okay. Is it moving?
Yep.
All right, I don't know why it's not playing any sound. But, whatever. I'll, when we share this, I'll post a link to the video and the announcement and all that good stuff. But trust me on this one, it sounds righteous as hell. And I cannot wait to see what they actually do with it.
It'll be nice, and I hope the R&D helps a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if they can get it, with a good capacity and everything like that.
What the hell?
Yeah, your screen share is going nuts.
I'll say. There we
And
go.
you're back. And you're back.
I have no idea what the hell happened there, but that was cool.
So the next thing kind of it like legitimately makes me mad. YouTube is launching a streaming music service, just like every other company in the world: Amazon, Spotify, Pandora, Apple iTunes Radio, Beats Music, RDO, Digster. There's too many. I guess you can never have too many, but
here. I really, 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 truly want all of these music sharing sites, music, all of it. Stop it. Knock it the hell off. This is stupid. Not every company has to have a freaking music sharing service. This is ridiculous. Knock it off. We've got Google Play. We've got Google Music. Now we've got YouTube. We've got Amazon Music Prime. We've got, whatever Microsoft's version is. We've got everything else under the sun. This is stupid. We got Spotify. Come on.
now granted, the existence of the music service itself is not what gets me, because yeah, it's ridiculous that every company thinks they have to have it, but you know what? If they want to waste their money on it, that's their prerogative, I guess. That's how I see it. My thing is, if YouTube wants to make it, let it sit there. I'm not going to use it.
No, I'm not at all.
The thing with YouTube's is that makes it different and suckier than the rest of the sucky music services is that, one, if you're a musical artist, excluding Vivo, it said, if you're a musical artist on YouTube, you have to sign on to this service, which is apparently the ad revenues. It's something stupid like $100 for 80,000 plays, which is nothing.
No, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Right, and it's a rate that's completely below Spotify's and Pandora's what they pay artists.
Which is already low to begin with.
Exactly, they're already lowballing people. So to lowball the lowballers is insane.
It is.
But my thing is, they're basically telling all musical artists on YouTube to sign on or die, basically.
Yep.
Sign on to our plan, or you know what, your music cannot earn any revenue on YouTube. They're revoking, from what I read, they're starting soon, maybe even already started. They're revoking ad partnerships with these artists if they don't sign on to the plan.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think that's complete bullshit.
It is.
I mean, I've seen a lot of bullshit things happen in this industry, at least in like the internet anyway. This takes the cake as like one of the most asshole-ish things that Google has ever done.
Exactly. And my thing is, I just looked just to make sure I wasn't going to put my foot in my mouth or anything, but everybody remembers when YouTube at the top of the page, its slogan was broadcast yourself. Well, now it's broadcast yourself for our benefit.
Exactly right. And we're not kidding. It's literally, obviously you've got to make money somehow, but at the same time, that's why these people are uploading their music to YouTube, so they can get some viewership and then maybe make some money off their work, instead of having to get $100 for 80,000 views. Do you know how fucking impossible it is to get 80,000 views? Just come on, seriously. Pardon my French.
Right.
Pardon my French, seriously. But that is just stupid.
Now, granted, if you make good music, 80,000 views will come quick. But that's like, famous fleeting. Like the cliche always says, and I hate using cliches, but you know what? It's infuriating, and I'm not even an artist. But YouTube is doing this, like you said. Everyone's got to make a buck, but they're making bucks right now. I'm a YouTube partner.
They're making bucks hand over fist, man.
Exactly.
The last thing they need to do is punish all of the friggin' musicians on YouTube who put up their own music. And it doesn't matter if they're signed or not. You don't have to punish all of these musicians for putting their music up just because Sergey Brin is broke.
Exactly. And he should be richer now after that stock split. But that's for something else. But the thing is, as a YouTuber, I can tell you from experience, and this is for anyone that wants to know, YouTube takes, for YouTube partners, YouTube takes 55-45% cut, 45% being for them, which is fine. You know what? They give me a platform. They give me, I don't have to store the videos. I don't have to have a web server in my own website. That's great.
Exactly. Never mind the fact that we can do this, you know?
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Great.
There's stuff, it exists to allow this to happen. But I'm already paying for that. I'm already giving them 45% of my ad revenue just to allow them to have an infrastructure. And that should be enough because I'm a small channel. Very small.
Yes.
I know how small I am, believe me. People like PewDiePie, he's making tons of money.
That boy is making some money.
Oh my God. So much money that he probably doesn't even know what to do with. And he's probably a very, very significant source of revenue for Google themselves. And I know, granted, Google's a huge company and he's a YouTube channel. But if they lost his revenue, they'd probably be upset. I mean, it's probably that good a chunk of change.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm almost fairly certain that if Ray William Johnson had stopped recording Equals 3 when it was at the very peak of like YouTube views and subscriptions and stuff, they would have been pissed.
Oh yeah, they would have died of a heart attack or something. I don't know.
Because that show was bringing in some cash.
Oh, so much money. He's set for life. I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Never mind the fact he's fairly talented too. So.
Oh, exactly. I mean, he's got services and skills to take him wherever. I think he works in actual filmography now. I don't know what he does for sure, but he's moved on. I know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he pitched a show to, I think he said USA Network. I can't remember what.
Yeah.
He never said anything about what it was going to be about, other than the fact that it was a sitcom, and they bought it. Whether they're going to do anything or not with it, I don't know. But that's beside the point.
The thing is, YouTube makes enough money. Google makes money on other shit. I don't know why they think they need to stand on the necks of these revenue getters for them, because I don't know if I don't know how this will work, but from my viewpoint, from what I understand it, if they threaten these people, these artists, with no more ad revenue, doesn't that cut off their 45%?
It really does, yeah.
So, I mean, Google's not putting themselves in a great position because, you know what, these artists are just going to stand up and say, you know what, we're going to put our stuff on Vimeo. That's what we're going to do.
That's what I would do.
Exactly. That's exactly
if Vimeo did anything like what we're doing right now over Google Hangouts, I would say let's go over there because that's horseshit. I'm honestly so pissed off with Google right now. Yeah. The driverless car, privacy issues, now this. I'm honestly ready to just ditch everything Google that I've got except for my phone because
I'm not going to go that far. But just because.
No, I'm serious as hell.
So much of my stuff just relies on Google infrastructure, but I'm definitely not. I'm not happy with them in the slightest.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those things where you kind of have to wait it out,
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
It's also on the same token for Facebook. So they're basically telling these advertisers what our browser history is. I was like, really? Mark Zuckerberg, you little shithead.
Yeah, not okay.
No, not cool at all.
My last thing on this is just Google needs to take a page from Apple's playbook, which I know is weird because Apple's usually taking pages out of Google's playbook. But I'm talking about what we saw at WWDC this year. We saw, what's his name, Craig Federici, out on stage talking to developers like they were his best friends, like they were his college roommates.
Yep.
And showing them that Apple truly appreciates what they do. And whether or not Apple genuinely does, I think they do. I think they're sincere. But that's beside the point. Google needs to realize that every single creator on YouTube is their coworker.
Yes, absolutely. Whether they like it or not. That's why it's called Google or YouTube Partners.
Partners. It's not peons. It's not YouTube peon program. It's a
Right.
YouTube partner program, and so they need to realize that these people are on. They want YouTube wants creators to be on their side. And right now, I'm not on their side. Now, granted, they're gonna see this video when they review it, but whatever. I mean, it's to the point where they need to wake up and realize that people are not happy.
No, not at all. I mean, that it's really shitty. It's really shady, and it's just you can do a lot better, Google. You really can.
You can do better.
I mean,
They have
I
the money.
understand that you've got to pay back, some of the interest on that self-driving car project, Google Street View, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is you guys are making money hand over fist.
Yeah,
You
they've got
do
the cash.
not need to screw everyone over out of cash just because you feel like it.
Just because they want to make extra, and I think I think they will realize it when people start going to different platforms, because I have a feeling, much like wireless carriers are getting competition from freemium carriers like Ting and Freedom Pop, there's going to be services like that coming out, trying to say, hey, you know what, you hate YouTube as much as we do, come use our thing. And I think
Yep.
that's where that's headed. And so Google, if they want YouTube to stay on top or heavily on top, they're going to have to step up their game. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Basically they're going to have to quit being assholes.
That's all.
And
That's all
that's
they
it.
do. They need to at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I've got no problem with big companies forming just to make YouTube videos, like Maker Studios,
Yeah.
or Next New Media, or any of those. I've got no problem with it. My thing is, don't screw everyone over.
No, don't. And
Is that too much to ask?
No, well, at this point it is apparently, but they're hopefully they're on the downward slope of the screwing. So I'm gonna get off the soapbox on that one, because I could talk for an hour about what YouTube should do differently, and every YouTube creator on YouTube will agree with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So and the next I guess I would say, I don't want to say corporate greed, but the next issue of corporate misbehavior, yeah, sketchiness, is T-Mobile had a press conference yesterday, which was very hip and with the times. But the CEO, John Legere, I don't know how to say his last name.
I think it's Legere.
Legere, that sounds
I
fancy.
think.
That sounds better. But they announced that they are adding free streaming for certain music services, that being, at least from what we've heard, Spotify and Pandora and maybe Beats Music. I'm not sure on that one. But basically it won't count against your data cap. And so you won't get throttled on it just because it doesn't count against you. It's like it never even happened. Sounds great. And
Yeah.
it did for me at first. And then I was like, wait. Where's the other services? Google Play Music's not on there. iTunes Radio might not be on there. I'm not sure. But the whole point being that it's just like when AT&T announced sponsored data, which is like the same thing, saying that Spotify or any other company can come to AT&T and say, we will pay you to let users use our service without data cap limitations. And the thing of it is that stomps on net neutrality, because that drives people to a certain product. And I made a whole video about it. It's back a couple months on my channel, I think from like January. But it's not good for the consumer, because Spotify or whoever else is going to be making more money because people are going to subscribe.
Right. This falls into this really big time falls into the corporate personhood category, for the simple fact that it's like these giant companies are just kind of coming together as a person and basically saying, well, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and all these insignificant little peons are just going to deal with it. Because that's the way we want it.
And the thing about it is, T-Mobile could say, "Oh no, we're Un-carrier. We really care about you." I thought you did too, but this proves that you're not that much above anyone else in terms of caring about the consumer. Because, the Jump program's great. I can get a new phone every 6 months. That's great.
That's cool.
That's cool. And I'll admit that's cool. But here's the thing. This deliberately stomps on net neutrality simply because of it drives people certain services. But the thing of it is, they can say, oh no, we're helping you because we don't want it to count against your data cap. Okay, how about this then? If you want to make me happy with my data cap and my streaming services, how about you umbrella and say any streaming music service won't count against you? Anything.
That'd be great.
And they said they're going to take feedback and say, what do you want to see taken off your data cap, like Google Play Music, things like that. But I'm not sure I have much faith in that system, and I'm not sure how that's going to work. And so,
I have about as much faith in that system as I do as the Electoral College.
And slim to none.
Don't get me wrong, I will absolutely get out there and vote. But I know that my vote doesn't mean shit because I'm not a senator or a representative. So,
basically. But to be honest, I don't know. It's like they have to realize what message they're sending. They think they're sending a positive message, T-Mobile, and for the people that really look into it, they're not. So I guess the ultimate message is to T-Mobile: stop trying to put one behind my ear. It's not happening.
It's just really dumb. It's very.
It's backhanded. That's what it is.
That's exactly the word I was getting ready to say too.
Yeah.
It's very backhanded, and it's hypocritical. They're
really
trying to
is.
call themselves the uncarrier and stuff like that. They're trying to say, we're from T-Mobile and we're here to help. That's right now, just by doing this, it's a bit like saying we're from the government and we're here to help.
We're here to help, and that is scary as shit.
It is, absolutely. So, get lost, T-Mobile, seriously.
Get out of here right now.
GTFO, don't let the door hitch on the way out.
Don't let it hit you.
And I realize I'm being very cynical right now, but at the same time, it's kind of a good thing to be cynical about,
Yeah, there's some things where it's like, okay, come on, like the people who think 9/11 was a conspiracy, things like that. That's where you can draw a cynicalness line. But
trust me on this one. There's nobody to address that thing for just 2 sentences. There is nobody in the federal government that is smart enough to pull off anything like that. Fuck you guys.
It's quite complex compared to, I don't know. That's a whole nother genre of podcast.
It is, absolutely. We could go on for days on that one, and we could just rip them apart too.
Gosh. Okay, so the next thing I had down was Google got into the quantum computer research space, I guess I would say.
I would call it that.
Yeah, and so basically, for the people who don't know what a quantum computer is, a regular computer thinks in terms of zeros and ones, binary, off-on switches, basically. In a quantum computer, I'm not sure how it all works, and as an information systems major, I probably should, but I'm an underclassman, so it's fine, it's excusable. But so basically, it's supposed to be way faster, and a quantum computer is supposed to allow research companies to solve very complex problems in a way shorter amount of time compared to a regular computer. And the thing of it is, they did a test to see if it was really as fast or faster than the typical supercomputer, and it wasn't. Failed the first test that they did.
Yep. And in a big way too.
Yeah. And
they found that it was no faster in any way than conventional computing.
Which is insane because of the money that Google's put into it. I think it's like a $15 million computer. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the industry behind it, kind of like Elon Musk is trying to get with electric cars. And it's like, here, we got this quantum computer. You guys got to get your own. And, we got to research and get this. It's the future, and everyone's going to have quantum computers in the future. And we got to get going on this. And it was like Anki Drive at WWDC when the guy's up on stage saying, look at what I got. And then you stand there.
Put 3 little cars out on stage, and
it's not working. And everyone thinks he's insane.
Right. This is cool, but really it's just Hot Wheels on a stage.
Yep. Hot Wheels controlled by AI. The most
Right.
complex Hot Wheels of all time. So we'll see if Google can get that sorted out. Maybe get a real quantum computer going. I'd be interested to see it because I think it's cool and it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see if they can pull it off. And the next thing
I really hope they do, just because this is one of those things where I'm actually kind of hopeful for Google on this one, just because I really want to see a quantum computer. You know, it doesn't absolve them for what they're doing with YouTube, but it does absolutely make sense to put in as much money as humanly friggin' possible in quantum computing.
Absolutely. The next thing
That's about as much sense as it makes to fund private companies in space exploration.
Oh yeah, definitely. The next thing I threw in here for your sake, for automobile purposes, I actually thought about buying this for myself. I'm sure you've seen this.
Oh yeah.
It's the automatic dongle, automatic link, I think it's called, and basically it's everyone knows there's a port down by your steering wheel here.
It's called the OBD2.
OBD2. I never knew what that port was called. Thank you for that.
No problem.
But if you've seen the Progressive Snapshot commercials, you can plug that in there. That's also the port that they use when you take your car into the shop and they do diagnostics with it. But from what I understand, it plugs into the data port and pretty much gives you all kinds of information about your car via that dongle.
It's actually really cool. There's a few actual different pieces of software and different bits of kit that actually let you do the same thing, but this is about the cleanest I personally have ever seen. It's really clean. It looks great. It works fantastically, and the dongle itself is actually built like a proper piece of kit that you would want to plug into your car. So there's that.
If I had a car that I kept with me all the time, I would probably do that. But at college, I don't have a car.
Right.
It's kind of impractical. But in the future, if this is still around or if somebody's made something better, I'm definitely gonna get it because it's only $100 and there's no fees or anything, as you can conveniently see on their website here.
Exactly.
So I think it's pretty slick, and the data that they give you is pretty good for $100. I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love the fact that it actually calculates how much money you're spending per trip. That's cool. That is really cool.
It's pretty sweet. And I'm definitely a fan of that. And I'm probably... It's still tempting, even though I'm only going to be using a car for the next 2 months.
Right. The gadgetry behind it is neat. And I personally would buy one. The problem is my car is too old. It's a 1990. And OBD2 is only from 1996 onward.
96. That's what I saw on their website. I didn't know that. I do know that much.
Right. Before that, it was just OBD. So, and then before that, they didn't have one
at all. So the next thing that I thought was kind of cool, it's really stupidly minuscule news, but I thought I'd throw it out here anyway. If you're a Breaking Bad fan and you have a Netflix subscription, which is probably a good percentage of America, I think Breaking Bad is already on Netflix, but I don't have a Netflix subscription, so I can't confirm that. But yesterday, they put it on there in 4K. If you don't know what 4K is, you're living under a rock. But I'll explain it anyway. 1080p is 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. 4K is 4096 by 1920. That's probably really, really wrong. But basically, it's 4,000 pixels across. So that's how much detail it is.
It's crazy clear.
I guess what I'm trying to get at here is if this is you right now, if you have a Netflix subscription, you haven't seen Breaking Bad, or you have seen Breaking Bad, and you just feel like, you know what, it's 10 o'clock on a Thursday night, and I'm sitting in my house, I'm just going to watch Breaking Bad in, holy HD. So go do it if that applies to you.
If you've got the equipment to do so, and you haven't seen Breaking Bad, you want to know what all the hubbub's about, this is your chance to see it as good as it will ever get.
Ever. And unfortunately, I think we just, if anybody is watching this, we ruined their productivity for the rest of the night anyway.
For the rest of their life.
Yeah. basically, for what, 5 or 6 seasons worth?
At least, yeah.
Ugh. Now, the next thing I had
Great
down
show.
was something relative to what we were talking about last week when we were talking
Yep.
about the 5 gig LTE speeds, was insane. I think they're separate bands, but Europe and South Korea, leave it to Europe. Basically, they've been prepping and testing 5G, which might be this super LTE we've been hearing about, but they've been testing 5G, which is logically a step above 4G LTE.
Obviously.
Obviously, for most of the young people that learn to count to 5 anyway. I have that much faith in the education system, at least that much.
Common Core worked for me.
Yes. It sure did. Oh my God, Common Core. Good Lord.
Let's not even go there, man.
No, that's another podcast. We're starting all kinds of podcasts out here. We're starting a politics podcast. We're starting a legal policies podcast. We're starting a
automotive podcast.
Yeah, an automotive podcast, and now we're starting an education curriculum podcast. So we're gonna have all kinds of stuff. So watch the social media because the Common Core Critique podcast is coming soon. I'm kidding.
Coming soon to Revision 3 Networks.
Oh my God, I only wish.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, Europe and South Korea are prepping 5G. I'm not sure how fast that's going to be. I'm also not sure if that's ever going to hit the U.S. Verizon's testing XLTE, which is another one of their stupid gimmicks to try and put themselves over AT&T. But so Europe and South Korea are looking at rolling this out in the next year or so. So props to them. I'm glad that somebody's getting on it. But the United States is kind of lagging.
Yeah, big time. What can you do though,
What can you do? What you can't. I'll tell you what you can do. I'll tell you exactly what you can do. You can get a YouTube channel, get a friend, start a Google Hangout, do a weekly podcast, and bitch about things like how stupid YouTube
is. and I'll tell you what, from the way things look, it's going to be pretty friggin' successful.
Let's do it.
Sounds good, man. I'll let you know what my schedule is. Then we'll have to wait like a year, maybe a year and a half before we actually do anything about it, just so some fat ass gets off his ass and actually does something about it.
Well, it looks like that was all I had to talk about tonight. We made pretty good time. 48 minutes ain't bad. We don't need the full hour. That's a good amount of time.
Actually, I just found something on Jalopnik real quick. So we were talking about Tesla last week, basically letting all the patents out. Jalopnik, they took a screenshot from a video game called Zero Wing, which, if you remember, was hilariously horribly dubbed. And basically the caption was, all your base are belong to us. Mm-hmm. Well, Jalopnik kind of took Tesla's original blog title, which was all our patent are belong to you, and they put it on a screenshot from Zero Wing. Well, now Tesla has actually taken that screenshot, or that top shot anyway, and they've put it on their patent wall where all their patents used to be.
Like a legitimate wall?
Yes, sir. I'll copy the link real quick for you, because apparently my screenshot is not working at the moment, but I just thought it was hysterical.
That is awesome. So it's actually in the headquarters somewhere.
Yes, sir. Sending it right now.
Tesla offices. Maybe I can open it and share it here. Let's see. Control plus. I got this here. This is the legit room, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Let's see.
That is actually currently in Tesla headquarters.
That is freaking awesome. And
right?
That is awesome.
That is where all their patents used to be, and now they've got that hanging up there.
That is symbolic as hell.
Right? That is symbolic as hell, hilarious as hell, and I absolutely love it. It's the fact that an OEM is actually using something from Jalopnik and throwing it on their wall and saying, "Hey, you know what? This works. We dig it.
We dig it, and now we're keeping it. We put it in."
Which is cool because the rest of the United States digs it as well.
Yes, and I'm glad that they went the way they did. So they went to the
Absolutely.
trouble of printing it out billboard size and sticking it on their wall, so they believe in it.
I really, I'm starting to get sentimental over this now.
Just get
It's
some piano
honestly
music.
it's one of the best things that any company has ever done for the automotive industry
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, since the introduction of the assembly line.
that's bold.
That's bold, ain't it?
That's very, very bold.
He's officially advanced. Well, okay, if they actually use their information and patents and stuff, he's
Right.
officially advanced all of motoring for as far as we can see, because now everyone is on a level playing field. Everyone can take this electric car game and run with it now. And now people actually have to innovate. Tesla has to innovate even more.
And
And
I think
now
that's awesome.
it's a fair fight. And these guys aren't even a 32nd of the size of General Motors.
Not even close, no, in terms of market cap or anything like that.
That I don't know what Mr. Musk's MO is. I don't know what his. Maybe he's got an ulterior motive. Maybe he's actually turning into Tony Stark. I don't know. That's beside the point.
Yeah, I like to tell myself that he's turning into Tony Stark, but that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, it's
But
not necessarily a bad thing.
I like to tell myself he's in it for the long haul, and he's in it for the right reasons. He put it out there that someone could build the Hyperloop, and he admitted that he was never going to build the Hyperloop himself.
Yeah,
I think he's got good intentions. I don't think he's a corporate asshole like the rest of America.
he is a corporate asshole, but he's not the corporate asshole that Sergey Brin is, that Jeff Bezos is, that basically anyone
Right.
that. And I'm not saying that all CEOs and corporations are assholes. I'm saying that a good majority of them are certainly assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
it's one of those things where, you know what, I'm 100% in Tesla's category. I don't like the idea of not having an internal combustion engine. I do like the idea of moving society forward, of saving more fuel for me and the rest of my cars. I like the idea of having neat cars that are running on alternative fuels, because at some point in time we're absolutely going to run out of dino juice. It's going to happen.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, probably.
That's a science podcast, by the way.
Yes, there we go. On this episode of Science Talk, no, but at some point it's going to happen, and we've got to learn how to get around this. And now it's a level playing field. Well done.
So well done to Tesla, and they managed to make it onto our show every week, so I think that says something.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say that this is a good place to wrap up. If you haven't already, you're on my channel right now if you're watching this, so hit the subscribe button and come back next week. We're sorry we had to push this back an hour, I think it was. Things happen, whatever. I don't think
I'll be perfectly honest, it happened because I took an overtime shift because I'm a greedy bastard.
There's nothing wrong with that. You needed to stay alive, so.
Amen.
If it happens again, we'll try and we'll give you some notice. And I mean, we did today. We gave some notice, but as of right now, next week is still on for 8 p.m. back to the old schedule.
Sounds right to me.
So we will try and stick to that, and if we can't, we will let you know. You will be the first to know. So like I said, subscribe, like this video once it's posted. You can come back next week.
Yep. Yes, it's been fun. See you guys next week.
See you.